All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Houston Texans rookie offensive lineman Aireontae Ersery. Eresry had a massive impact in the Texans, a big come-from-behind performance. He continues to just get better and better, folks. We've talked about Eresry a lot, and there's a reason for it. He is quickly becoming one of the NFL's best young left tackles. We'll break down everything he did so well. As always, if you're a fan of these film reviews and want to help support us, consider becoming a member. There's a link in the description box below that will take you right there. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's open up with a little running game, and there's Eresry right there at left tackle. I know when it comes to left tackles, we all love talking passing game, but I want to talk about Eresry's point of attack blocking here. And what we're going to get here from the Houston Texans, we're going to get down blocks across the board, and the backside guard's going to pull and try and kick out the in-man line of scrimmage, and Eresry is going to deliver a base block at the point of attack on number 44, who's lined up in a 4-eye technique. The design of the play is basically to follow this guard's butt right here, the running back, and Eresry again getting a good base block here. But you really have a three-part problem here if you're Aireontae Ersery. Number one, if 44 slants down inside, he can blow up the play. Number two, if he goes back outside, he can blow up the play. But number three, he can also stymie you in the chest and get penetration and blow up the play. So it's a hard job for the left tackle. You've got to base him up to make sure he doesn't get penetration that way, but make sure you've got your head on this side of him, the left side of the defensive end right there, and you also have to make sure you get vertical movement. It's a harder block than it looks, but 79 makes it look easy. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff, blown up for a loss because the right guard right there completely misses his block. That's not great, of course. But let's look at Eresry right here. Look at his technique. Look how he gets his feet in the ground. Look how he uses his hands. Look how he walks back this defensive end right here. Look at the level he's at, number 79, compared to the rest of the offensive line. Getting movement on a base block just like this. Guys, this is really, really good stuff for Aireontae Ersery. I mean, this would be Pro Bowl level stuff. Base block at the point of attack. Again, no penetration. See how he's going to get his right foot down, his left foot down right away. Uses his hands, good extension, keeps driving his feet. Ends up in the right body position. Everything you want from a base block is here, guys. I mean, this is picture perfect technique tape stuff. It's not going to get the attention, of course, because the play goes for a 3-yard loss because the backside guard misses the block, right? He's a left tackle, so everyone's more concerned with his pass protection, which we'll get to, of course. But I tell you what, in the run game, Eresry is very quickly becoming a force. Great job right here by 79. All right, for the wide copy, you can see Eresry right there, fire off into 44 and just walk him back. I mean, look where he is compared to the rest of the offensive line. Where's the line of scrimmage? Where do we start at? The 35-yard line? Where does he walk back 44? All the way, to the 37, 38? So we're talking 2-3 yards of vertical movement with your head on the right side of the defender in a one-on-one base block. I mean, compare where he is compared to where all the other offensive linemen are. That's movement by yourself, one-on-one. For anyone who's not familiar with movement at the point of the attack in the NFL game, this doesn't happen, guys. The only other time you'll get this kind of movement if it's like a down block and you have an angle on him, not in a situation where Eresry is in right here, where he's got to basically protect inside, outside, and penetration. He does all three and then dominates like this. Great job by the rookie. All right, let's go with some pass protection, and there is Eresry right there at left tackle for the Houston Texans. And this is going to be a standard protection. The play side, that's these three guys on this particular play, they're all going to take the gap to their left. So the center's going to take this gap, the left guard's taking this gap, and Eresry's going to take that gap, which means on the back side, these two guys, it's man-on-man. Man-on-man there and man-on-man there. Simple stuff, nothing special here. I want you guys to watch Eresry because he understands the situation. He knows because it's a gap protection on his side, he has a chance for some inside help. So he doesn't have to treat this completely as a one-on-one. He can allow the defensive end here to have a potential angle inside, but he can't surrender too much inside because, again, there's a 3 technique right here, so he knows this guard's going to be hung up for at least a little bit. This is good teamwork on the offensive line, guys. This is what happens when you get a bunch of games under your belt. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. He's got time. He's got time. Throws a strike. Touchdown, Houston. Let's get the comeback going. All right, let's look at Eresry at left tackle. Right there, see how he oversets, or at least looks like he oversets a little bit? It's because he's expecting inside help, and there it comes, and it's sealed off. It's one of those things where even though he's a young player, obviously a rookie, he's starting to play like a veteran. He understands the situation. So compare his pass set to 77's, right? 77 understands he doesn't have help inside, so he's going to try and roll 44 more up the field, right? That's veteran tackle. It's what you would expect. Eresry understands over here he's got inside help, so he can be prepared for the outside rush and allow the defensive end to work a little bit more to his inside shoulder and wait for the guard to come over. Again, it's good teamwork, guys. This is what offensive line play is all about, right? Obviously, you got to win some one-on-one matchups when the opportunities are there, but you got to play as a team. And some young left tackles, even Ersery in some instances early in his career, he would have this gap protection and he would still be, too aggressive in trying to have the defensive end rush the outside lane. Here in this situation, because you have inside help, protect the bull rush, protect the outside, and slow down the inside move until your help arrives, just like we see here. Good job by the Texans. All right, from the wide copy, you see Eresry right there at left tackle. You're going to notice his kick step here, right? He's allowing a little bit of an inside move right there. Now, he's not surrendering it completely, right? There, you can go too far and basically just get beat quick on the inside. That's not ideal. But you want to protect the outside lane primarily, be ready for the bull rush, and when your help arrives right there, you can see the good pocket. It's what pass protection is all about, guys. Understanding where your help is. I always equate pass protection on the offensive line like playing zone coverage in the secondary. Where is your help? Where are your teammates? Can you pass people off? And that's one of the things that Ersery is starting to figure out at a high level. Again, got some things to improve on. Far from perfect, obviously. Not a great day for the Texans offensive line in aggregate when it came to pass protection. But Ersery, in his own right, is continuing to get better and better. Prototypical left tackle emerging for Houston. All right, let's talk about recovery, and there's Eresry right there at left tackle, of course, for the Houston Texans. And recovery is something you have to do on offensive line play because sometimes you're going to make a mistake, and this play is going to be one of those. So right here, it's a quick throw from the Texans, and they have the tackles by design. They want them to fire out and cut, get the hands down of the defensive ends on both sides of the football. And as Eresry tries to get out of his kick step and get into the cut, he's too far away from 41 to cut, and he knows if he throws, he's going to miss, and 41's going to have a kill shot on his quarterback. So what does he do? He recovers and runs the defensive end upfield by his own regard. Again, the ability to recognize and react, adapt and overcome. This young left tackle has it. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Good protection. Quick throw. Good completion. Move the football. All right, let's look at 79 right here at left tackle. So he goes out with an aggressive pass set. And you can tell if you look at 77 over here, they're trying to cut. They're trying to be aggressive, right? That at least was the play call. But 79 gets out in space, Eresry over here, and he realizes he's too far away. He can't get to 41 in time. He knows if he tries to throw right here, he's all out of whack, and defensive end's going to get through and get a hit on the quarterback or bat the ball down. So what does he do? He recovers, gets into a normal kick step, and then runs him up the field, creates the passing lane that way, and it works out for Davis Mills and the Texans offense. You got to be smart and savvy sometimes. You got to be a playmaker and recognize what the defense is trying to do. Initially, off the rip right here, he's like, okay, 41's coming right at me. I'm going to cut him. But the moment he sees 41 for Jacksonville loop around vertically, he transitions into a normal kick slide, and runs him up the field. Again, it's not the prettiest move of all time, and I guarantee you the folks at PFF or any other grading service aren't going to like that very much. But I think the ability to recognize, react, adapt, and overcome, all those little things that are veteran moves, Ersery is starting to do as a rookie, and that, of course, is a great sign for his future. All right, from the wide copy, there's a snap. Quarterback has time, hits the open man, good stuff. You can see Eresry off the rip right there. He tries to go out there, but there's too much space between him and the defender, and he wants to run him upfield instead, and he does. Recognizing and reacting is such a critical part of playing in the NFL, certainly on the offensive line. Your assignment may be to cut him, but you got to recognize he's too far away to cut. How about I just run him up the field? It's a smart, savvy play. It generates the throwing lane regardless, and it protects your quarterback. Rule number 1, protect the quarterback. Rule number 2, execute the offense. Eresry has both of those rules really down pat. Again, he's not perfect. I know I mentioned that a few times. He's got a few technical flaws where he needs to improve on. He's a rookie, guys. Of course, there's going to be something. But his mental understanding of the offense and playing pro football is quickly becoming very impressive. All right, how about some running game? And there's Eresry, of course, at left tackle for the Houston Texans. It's going to be a standard inside zone concept, working to the right side of your screen, the left side of the offense. We're going to get a base reach here. We're going to get a base reach here. Eresry is going to work up to the next level and zone scoop blocks, cutoff blocks on the backside. Running back taking this track and trying to hit the hole wherever he can find a hole. And we're going to get some motion pre-snap from a receiver going this direction to pull the linebackers and safeties with them. Standard stuff, nothing special here. I want you guys to watch Eresry working up to the next level and getting great movement on the blocking when it comes to zone blocking in space. It's a hard skill for a lot of young tackles just because they're so used to dealing with defensive ends and pass protection. Eresry, as a run blocker, like every other part of his game, is continuing to get better and better. Let's check it out. There's a motion. There's a snap. There's a zone. Not a whole lot there. Minimal gain. But I want you guys to watch Eresry here at left tackle. Watch him climb up to the next level, get on 42, blow him out of the picture. Good stuff. Who is still blocking their guy? Right? Let's play this all the way through. Okay, right there. Who's still blocking? You can see a lot of people around the pile. Most of the guys are either giving up the block or they're it's around the pile. Give credit to Trent Brown. I think the 77, right? pushing 23 into the pile. I love the physical nature. Good to see that. How about the center? Working up to the next level, staying on zero the entire play. The effort on the offensive line, guys, is starting to get there from Houston. The physicality and effort, right? It was missing at times earlier in the season. It's starting to show up, guys. Starting to show up. Let's look at Eresry. Get on the DB, 42, blow them out of the picture. That's what you need to do, right? If you get up to the next level and you get on these strong safeties in the box, you got to wash them completely out of the way, and that's exactly what 79 does here. Is it a pancake block? No. Is it a highlight maker? No, but it's checking the box, right? You get this opportunity, you got to win. And there's a lot of young tackles, guys, that just struggle in these situations just because they're not used to it, right? They're so used to the kick slides, they're so used to pass protection. Here, Eresry does a good job recognizing, getting movement, and finishing the play. Nice job. All right, for the wide copy, get a really good look at Eresry at left tackle right here. Work up to the next level, get on the DB, and right there, if they would have blocked this a little bit better on this, the left guard right there, if he doesn't get blown up, guys, that's a touchdown right there. Right, they got hats on hats. Schultz, I mean, I think he does good enough. I think the center does a good job. Eresry's getting a lot of movement. I think this running back, Woody Marks right here, if he gets a better block from his left guard, he follows Schultz a little bit, gets north and south, and then creeps behind Eresry, and he walks in for a touchdown. It's the little things, right? It's hard to execute every single block on every single play, of course, but the Texans offense, despite their injuries, certainly down the stretch, really, really improved. If they can be a little more consistent, if they can certainly get healthier too with the rest of their arsenal returning, I think this offense has a chance, guys. I know it's been ugly most of the season, but you watch the film, especially with young guys like Eresry, they are so close. They are so close. If they can get one more block on a lot of these plays, they could be off to the races. All right, quick break in the film review. Look, I was taught to break down film by my college coaches at the Division I level. All the players are. It's just a fact of playing football at that level. And I want to take this opportunity to give you guys, the average fan, more opportunities to get that insider knowledge of how the game is taught at that highest level of college football. I created a checklist, a step-by-step guide for you guys, 100% free. That's based on how I was taught to break down film by my coaches, and then I use today to create these film reviews. There's a link in the description box below that'll take you right to it. I really appreciate it if you guys decide to get it. Again, 100% free, just trying to share information to you guys, stuff that was taught to me by my coaches. But without further ado, let's get back into the film. All right, let's go with some more pass protection. There's Eresry right there, of course, at left tackle. And I want you guys to watch the communication that happens between Eresry and the left guard right here. So you can see zeros walked up and number 44 is right here in a 4-eye technique. So what they're going to call here is a fan call between the left tackle and the left guard. Basically, a fan is Eresry's like, listen, I'm going out to him. You're going out here. But if 44 decides to come around to my way and this number 0, this linebacker, drops out, I'll pick up 44 and you go looking for help. This requires communication. This requires working together, something you got to do. Remember, you got a backup quarterback in the game. Hard situation to handle. The rookie gets it done. Let's check it out. All right, communication. They're talking to each other. Communication. Talking. Handling it. Pick it up. Good protection. First down. That's what it's all about, guys. Football, communication, working together. You can see 54 is looking at 44. 44 goes away. 54 goes looking for work, helps secure the nose guard. Quarterback has a clean pocket. That's how you do it, guys. How about Eresry, right? Eyes on 0 off the rip, sees him, goes away, goes right to 44, picks him up, locks him down. No problem. Great technique, great hands. This is really good. And again, this Texans offensive line, it was far from dominant against Jacksonville, of course. But there's enough moments, and when you watch the film and you look at the schemes and how they're playing, they just feel so close. Like right here, good handoff, good execution, good pocket, good first down. Obviously, it's a consistency problem and will probably continue to be a problem going forward. But if they can clean it up, and certainly down the stretch, I think they can, especially as they get healthy, led by guys like Aireontae Ersery with the technique, the winning style of play, the physical style of play, and the communication for a young left tackle. This group up front, this starting 5, has a chance to carry this team into the playoffs. All right, for the wide copy, watch Eresry and the left guard right there, communicating, talking with each other, getting on the same page. Pick up 44. Guard goes looking for work. First down. That's what football is all about. Again, I know people look at the highlights and people look at what happens, obviously from the snap to the whistle, but everything pre-snap. And usually the quarterback gets all that attention, right? Hey, what's he calling? What's he doing? These offensive line, and not necessarily the center. The center gets a lot of attention too, but it's all the offensive line communicating, getting on the same page, understanding each other, making the right calls. I'm fanning out, which understanding, hey, listen, if 44 comes to me, then I'm going to get him. And they may literally be saying this, right? I've been in situations when I played college ball where the defensive end is right there. You may have a fan out call with this outside linebacker, but the left tackle's like, listen, I got 40 fan, but I got 4-4 if he comes. I got 4-4 if he comes. And the guard's like, okay, okay, okay. He goes, and then the guard goes looking for work. It's that kind of communication that makes a difference. How do comebacks happen? Obviously, quarterbacks, receivers, right, and defense needs to make big stops. But offensive linemen, they have to protect the quarterback to allow any of that to happen. And the communication and execution down the stretch for Houston was outstanding. All right, let's talk about execution for a second. And there's Eresry, of course, at left tackle. And we're going to get a standard play action boot here for Houston. So we're going to get motion pre-snap this way and a fake zone handoff this direction. Quarterback's going to fake and then bootleg out that direction. Standard stuff. Everyone runs in one way, shape, or form. But what you need from the offensive line is you need these guys to sell inside zone because you want these linebackers all in the box here and these safeties and DBs to all fly downhill, think it's run. Because if they don't respect the run, they will see the bootleg action and get out in space and potentially blow the play up. So what you want to do here, if you're an offensive lineman, you want to sell the zone and quickly get into a pass protection mindset, right? You obviously can't run downfield to sell the zone, but you want to fire off and hit this defensive lineman in such a way that you can pass protect on the other side of it. So that way these guys, these DBs, these linebackers, they all fly downhill thinking it's run. Ersery, again, it's the little things that matter. He executes. Let's check it out. There's the motion. There's the snap. There's the fake. Bootleg is wide open. Nice little gain. But let's look at the execution from Ersery's perspective, right? Watch him fire off in a 94, run his feet. Look at the linebackers. Look at the DBs. They're all running downhill. They think it's a run, right? Why does 42 think it's a run? Why does 22 think it's a run? Because they see this hole open up, right? They see the run action. They see this hole right here. They're like, oh my goodness. Now, why does that hole happen? Because Ersery fires off like it's a run. Let's imagine Eresry if he just did like standard pass protection or nothing special, right? Just kind of, shuffle down the line of scrimmage. There wouldn't be a hole right here. Right here, there wouldn't be a hole. So 22 and 42, they wouldn't be firing to fill that hole. And that would mean 86 wouldn't be as open. Maybe he wouldn't be open at all. Maybe it'd be a play that would go for an incomplete pass instead of a good 6-yard gain. These things add up over time. You have to be willing to execute. You have to be willing to run the offense, right? It's not just the quarterback. It's not just the running back. It's not just the receivers. The offensive line have to be willing. And we see this across the board. Look at all these guys run their feet. That's good teamwork. That's good execution. Eresry, of course, doing his part. I love the way he's treating it like it's a zone play. But here's the beautiful part. Any guys downfield? Nope. They're all behind the line of scrimmage, so no risk for a penalty. It's just good coaching, good execution. Long way to go in terms of playing better, of course, on a snap-by-snap basis. But this offensive line, especially with Eresry, they're starting to execute at a high level. All right, for the wide copy to get a good look at it, there's some motion. Watch everyone sell run. Right here. Look at all these DBs and linebackers. They're still flat-footed. Tight ends wide open. Nice, easy play. First down. I can't tell you how many games I watch where the offensive line kind of shuffle. They don't really sell it very good. And the linebackers and DBs, they're not concerned at all about the running game, and they cover the receivers, and the play's not there. This Texans bunch, despite their flaws, they play fast. They run their feet. Aireontae Ersery is one of the leaders in that, right? Look at this. Getting on this defensive lineman and running his feet. He's not stopping. Selling the run the entire way. Selfless play, not selfish play, right? Don't get into your mindset of, well, I want to look good with my pass set and make sure I don't get beat or anything like that. Execute the offense, 79, and the rest of the bunch, for their own right, do a good job, leads to a Texans first down. All right, I want to end on a play that highlights exactly what will happen when you execute all game long. So what we're going to see here from Houston is a split zone concept. We're going to get a base reach here, base reach here. We're going to get zone double team here, working up to the next level. We're going to get backside scoop here, and the tight end H-back over here. He's going to come across the formation and block out the defensive end, number 41, and the running back's going to hit this crease right here, inside zone concept. If you're executing all game long, firing off in terms of selling run, right? Firing off in your blocks, getting movement at the point of attack, right? What do defenses normally try to do, right? They try to jump around blocks. They get so frustrated getting blocked up all day that they jump around blocks. They jump around blocks because they're so tired of not making plays. What happens? You open up huge holes for the running back to hit. That's exactly what we see here. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. There's the hole, big crease. Good finish, good run by Woody Marks. Now, why is this hole so big, guys? Look at the defensive players for Jacksonville. They're all jumping around blocks. No one has any gap integrity anymore. Why? Because all game long, the Texans' offensive line just did their job. They sold their run on play action. They fired off like we saw from Eresry did and got movement, right? In a similar situation, 44 got walked back by Eresry earlier in the game. He doesn't want to have that happen again, right? He's trying to jump around and block anticipation for it, right? Look at him. His eyes are on 79 off the rip, allows the guard to blow him out of the hole. Right, if you're a defensive end and you haven't gotten any winning pass rushes all game long, what do? You jump around blocks saying, I got to get a sack. I got to make a play. What happens there? You open a huge crease. When you execute as an offensive line, when you run your feet, when you play physical like this Texans bunch did at times, like Eresry did a lot, you force the defense into mistakes. It's just human nature. You wear them down and you lead to big holes just like we see right here. Eresry, guys, I know I've talked about him a bunch this year. He is one of the more impressive rookies I've seen. Is he perfect? Absolutely not, but he's trending in a great direction. I think Houston has a special cornerstone left tackle in number 79.